Good morning and welcome to Rise and 9, our second day of our new streaming show.
Yes, thanks for joining us. I'm Jackie Kennan.
And I'm Kristin Rogers. We're just going to rehash some of the day's top news stories and then also talk a little bit about life on this show.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. This is kind of a different format. I don't know if you were able to join us yesterday, but I was saying before, like in our newscast, like every second is structured out. And this, we've just got some time to chat. So it's a different format and we're excited to bring it to you.
Yeah, kind of fun. A little bit more relaxed and not really scripted at all.
Right, but we do have some serious breaking news to start out with today. We learned just a couple hours ago, around 5:30 this morning, that former Vice President Dick Cheney has died. He was 84 years old. His family was with him, his wife, 2 children, and other family members. They said he died of complications from pneumonia, along with cardiac and vascular disease. Of course, he was George W. Bush's vice president in office during 9/11 and was a leading advocate for the invasion of Iraq.
Yes, and another big news story we've been covering all morning. Of course, it's election day. A nice day to get out to the polls. The weather's pretty good out there.
Oh, beautiful. I loved yesterday. The sky was so blue. It'll just be a little bit windy today.
It will, yeah. But for November, can't really complain about weather in the 60s. And so, yeah, lots of big elections happening today, especially with school bonds.
Yeah, especially Cedar Rapids. And one of the 41 bonds across the state, but that is a huge one in Cedar Rapids. We've been talking about that for months. $117 million school bond.
Yeah, and of those 41, at least 18 of those are Eastern Iowa school bond elections. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what shakes out today as voters head out to the polls to have their voices heard.
Yeah, and along with those school bonds, there are also a variety of these local elections. Iowa City, Coralville, and North Liberty, each deciding on a 1% local option sales tax.
Yep, and a mayoral election here in Cedar Rapids as well.
Yep, and then an interesting story. I've never heard of this happening before. Maybe it has, but I'm not familiar. There were filing offices errors. This is something we reported on months ago. Not a new thing, but just something to be aware of on this election day. Because of those filing officers' errors, dozens of names are left off the ballots, and this is happening in the city council race in Williamsburg. Just checking my notes, I don't want to get this wrong. School board races in the Oelwein, New Hampton, and Turkey Valley school districts. So the Iowa Secretary of State says when we found out about this, I think it was September, just that the filing officers didn't file the paperwork with county auditors before a deadline in September. So he says, make sure you know who is running, if that's who you want to vote for, and to be ready to write in the name of the candidate who is running.
Yeah, this is interesting because these are cases where there are people running who won't appear on the ballot. Very different from Libby Randall's story last night out of Oxford where no one is running, so there's no one on the ballot. They aren't sure whether there are going to be any write-ins or not, so we'll see what happens today in Oxford.
Right. Yeah, a couple of very different situations. I've never heard of either things happening before, though.
Yeah, always interesting on election day, and of course, we'll have full coverage. You can see that tonight on the KCRG TV9 different newscasts, also constantly updating on our website and on our app.
Yeah, also streaming this evening too, so our colleagues in the evening have a busy day ahead of them as well.
Absolutely, yes. We'll watch those results to roll in.
And then there are also, today starts a murder trial.
Yes, this is a major case out of Lynn County, a quadruple homicide. This is Luke Truesdale's murder trial. So today, of course, will just be jury selection with that trial just kicking off, but he's accused of beating 4 people to death with a pipe. This happened in a detached garage in Lynn County. And so, yeah, this trial is just getting started today, something that we'll be very on top of, a major case out of Lynn County. Again, 4 people dead.
Yeah, really heartbreaking to Rhonda Scooper, Kiana Ryan, Amanda Parker, Brent Brown were those victims that day.
Absolutely. And another big story on our website today, we have a new I-9 investigation. This first aired last night at 10. We aired it again on the morning show. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out on our website. But I sat down with a cybersecurity expert from ProCircular, the CEO of ProCircular, Aaron Warner, and he showed me what's really on the dark web. So you're able to kind of expose what's really there, because it's something that you hear about the dark web, but most people haven't actually seen it. And a lot of what I found was really surprising.
Yeah, and when I was watching the story, it's like, why isn't this just shut down? And obviously it's because it's incredibly more complicated than that.
Exactly, yeah. And I did not include this part in my story, but the number of law enforcement agencies that we contacted for this story was super extensive, trying to get those questions answered about why is this allowed to continue? It seems like, well, why can't you just track these people down?
Right.
Well, there's a lot of problems with that. For one, a lot of these crimes take place across different jurisdictions, different state lines, even different country lines. So it's hard to determine, which jurisdiction. Every single person I reached out to for law enforcement pointed me to the FBI, and the FBI has large caseloads. They didn't get back to me for this story, but in speaking with Aaron Warner, who works with some of these FBI agents, he told me that they all have huge caseloads, and when it comes to working on dark web or cybersecurity cases, they're all millions of dollars. So typically, if you lose a few $1,000s, it's hard to have repercussions for that because local law enforcement sometimes doesn't quite know what to do. If they refer to the FBI for a case, maybe because it does cross lines, then it's hard because they're handling such large cases when it comes to money that it's hard to have your case be seen. And that's why Aaron Warner wanted to share this information, to make sure that people know how they can do their best to protect themselves from becoming a victim on the dark web, or as far as cybersecurity goes in general.
Right, and that's just one part of it. There's also just drugs for sale. It looks almost like any Amazon website service of drugs, and you even mentioned human trafficking, a lot of victims on the dark web.
Horrible, yeah. And I asked him too, because the dark web also is used for good in some cases. He gave me an example of people in some countries maybe use it to communicate. But the thing is most of what's on there, he says, is bad. It's only 1% of the internet, but most of it is bad. There's a reason why it's being hidden. There's a reason why these purchases are being made using cryptocurrency, because of course, if you can imagine, if you swiped your credit card to pay for these illegal drugs on the dark web, you'd probably have an FBI agent show up at your door. And so it's all very hidden. It's very discreet. It's hard to get to. You're not going to land on it by accident. But yeah, very interesting to see what's really on there. That active marketplace you mentioned was something that I wasn't expecting until I first spoke with him. But essentially, that's what it looks like. It looks like Amazon or any other online store, only it's illegal guns, it's illegal drugs, it's human trafficking, and people are paying for this using cryptocurrency. And a lot of times when it comes to drugs or guns, these things are shipped directly to their door. They don't even have to leave their house.
Right, and so if we want to see the full story, you can just go on our website and check that out, right?
Exactly, yep. It's on our website, kcrg.com. I also have the link on my social media page as well on Facebook.
Yeah, and you had some extra content too with a different podcast.
I did, yes. I did a podcast with Aaron Warner where we kind of talked more extensively. Obviously, with any news story, we do have time limits. There's only so much that you can squeeze into a news broadcast. And so that's what's really great about these I-9s is we're also doing podcasts with people who know about this, or whether we're talking with another co-anchor or we're talking with an expert on our story, and we're able to include some more nuggets. So after Aaron Warner and I shot this story, we sat down and kind of debriefed what we just saw, and he shared some more additional information in that podcast.
Yeah, these I-9 stories are interesting. You and I were both reporters. A regular day flow would be like we'd get a story in the morning, maybe made some calls on the day before,
right,
and then we have that story airing that evening. So for us to, I'm working on a story as well, so for us to be able to have weeks, even months to work on these stories is just an interesting opportunity to be able to provide stories like this.
Exactly, yeah. It allows us to go much more in depth and really take time because we aren't on like a hard deadline like we are with a day turn type of story. And so it's really great what these I-9s are able to bring in terms of coverage.
Right, very interesting there. And of course, as part of our Rise in 9, we also have lunch with you.
We do.
And so today I got some chili.
Yes, chili. And we explained this yesterday because some people might be confused why you're eating chili at 7:24 a.m.
It makes sense to me when you wake up at 1:30 in the morning. So I have hard-boiled egg, black coffee. So I have a little breakfast as soon as I wake up. In the middle of the night,
essentially.
/ middle of the night. So I'm ready for more of a lunch. When it comes to 7:30, I have some food once I get done for the day at noon, and then I don't really have dinner.
Yeah, your dinner is at lunchtime.
I kind of move it up one.
Yeah, which makes total sense, and whatever works for you. I do eat, I guess, breakfast foods at the office, little things like yogurt, a banana usually before the show, just so I don't have my coffee on an empty stomach all morning, and then a granola bar a couple hours from now. I go home then and actually eat lunch at what I guess is a normal lunchtime for most people, and then I eat dinner with my family, usually early evening, like 5:30. So that's just what works and functions for me. But yeah, I'm always just kind of grazing little breakfast foods this time of day. But chili, it's funny that you brought that today. because I also made chili. We did not talk about this.
Right.
I also made chili last night for dinner, had a whole crock pot going all day, and I am so excited because that's what I'm going to eat as soon as I get home today for lunch.
Right, use yours in the slow cooker. I use a pressure cooker in my Instant Pot. I just throw everything in, saute the onion and garlic and spices, brown the beef, and then put it all in the Instant Pot. But it's also interesting what people eat with chili. I know the cinnamon rolls, and one of our colleagues just happened to bring this in today.
It's just all falling into place.
She brought cinnamon rolls. So, okay, but well, that's delicious. A yummy combination. That's not what I had in school lunch, and I know that's a lot where people get that from. So when I had school lunch in Postville, we had a cheese sandwich, not a grilled cheese, just cheese sandwich with chili.
Like a cold cheese sandwich? Okay.
And I still think that is my favorite to do. But we had the cinnamon roll with chicken noodle soup.
Interesting. Do you think it's the nostalgia that makes that your favorite?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
It's funny how foods can do that, just like certain songs do, you know? They remind you of something that you enjoy and then instantly your favorite.
Right. As soon as the temperature gets cold, though, we got to get the slow cooker out, though.
Absolutely. So I grew up eating chili with cinnamon rolls. Well, my mom is from Nebraska, and so that's just what they did in Nebraska. And so, yeah, that's just something I always grew up eating, and I still do that for my family. Last night we did switch it up, though. Occasionally we'll switch it up and do like croissants or biscuits. We did like the layered biscuits. My 5-year-old likes to take all the layers apart one by one. Yeah, it just makes it all a little bit more fun. But yeah, some sort of bread. You need some sort of bread, lots of crackers, a little bit of cheese.
My dad likes cornbread. That's another popular one.
That is, yeah, very Iowa.
But it is good. I'm wearing black in case I spill. But we did not also plan to also each wear black.
I know, and okay, we get asked this question. I would say probably one of the most common questions is if Jackie and I plan our outfits. Most of the time it's a no. We occasionally have planned our outfits for like St. Patrick's Day, Christmas. Usually it'd be like a holiday situation.
Right.
But definitely not in general and not on election day. We actually wore black because it's neutral. You never want to wear red or blue on an election day and have somebody read too much into your outfit.
Right, that's how much we think about this.
Exactly. So just impartial and black. So easy election day color. Could wear white, could wear purple.
Yeah, and if I spill my chili, it won't be super obvious.
Exactly. Yeah, there's always benefits to wearing black.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Rise and 9 today.
Yep. Hope you have a great day.